How you doing? Welcome to Breaking Bread with Dread, episode 28. I'm here with Zach from Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. Pleasure to meet you. We actually did meet. It was MegaCon, if I recall.
Tampa Bay Comic Con.
So, Tampa Bay. Okay, so I've been bouncing around a lot of these cons.
There's a lot of them.
I've run into several cosplayers over and over again, and it's just like, wow, you mix up and stuff. But it's great to meet up with somebody that also does these. What got you into all this?
So I started doing like displays at my parents' house when I was a kid. My birthday's right around Halloween. I grew up loving Christmas and all the things that were creative and decorations and all that stuff. But as I got older, me and my cousin started doing more larger, elaborate Halloween displays, and we started playing with different things we could do, different sets, different costumes. And it was really just on Halloween night, for trick-or-treaters. But it grew and grew and grew, and our passion kept growing and growing. And to the point where, after I had graduated from college, my dad, we sat down and talked, and he asked the question if, this was something we would want to try to do on a professional level. And so our family had some property here in Plant City where the haunt is now. And in 2014, we set out to open Sir Henry's Haunted Trail, and we had one trail that first year. Didn't really know what to expect. We'd never done anything of this size or scope before. But we basically took the principles that we were doing at the house for Halloween and scaring people and entertaining people, and brought those principles out to this new event. And I think that's what. Can I get a Mountain Dew, please? And so I think that's what has led to the success of Sir Henry's. When we first started, we were not what we are today. There's a lot of learning that went into it. There's a lot of growth that went into it. But everybody's got to start somewhere. And fortunately enough, we did start somewhere. Because if I knew what I know now, there's a good chance I might have never started with this. So just the blind ambition going into it helped a lot.
That's usually the best thing, is when you don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's best to just jump in. Sometimes when you do know, it pulls you back.
Yeah,
so
you start to hesitate.
You don't want to do that. So it's definitely a good thing. Now, on the first, let's say, official haunt. Okay, so when was the first? Do you remember the first year you started unofficially before it became official? Do you remember when that was? How far back that was?
I mean, it's tough to say. Probably around 2008, I think, when we were doing it at my parents' house. I'd say like the first unofficial year of doing the home haunt displays and everything. Although, my parents and I had done displays since I was a child, but I started taking it seriously like 2006, 2008, something like that.
Okay. And then the official
one was in 2014, when we opened Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. So I had about 6 to 8 years there of just playing around and having fun. You still are playing around and having fun.
So now this was after the pirate ship at your parents' house?
So the pirate ship was in 2012, so it was kind of right between
a little bit of
the height of it all, towards the end of it there. The pirate ship was really cool. We did a pirate-themed yard display at my parents' house, and we built a pirate ship that had been split in half, so trick-or-treaters would actually walk between the two ships. And that was the first year we did a lot of animation. So we had like cannons that would shoot with a sound, lights and fog. We had the classic drinking skeleton with the fountain pump. There's a lot of, and we had like a jail cell opening and closing. Like, to us, that was like, oh my god, we're doing like Disney level stuff now. That's cool. But again, you got to start somewhere, and that was a big step for us. And the response that we had from that pirate home haunt setup was crazy, and that was a big factor for us going forward.
So what inspired all of this other than just Halloween? Was there more to it? Was there something that just kind of clicked?
I don't know. I think something just speaks to me about the creativeness of haunted houses and Halloween.
Yeah, we can.
I'm ready if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna do the royal flush.
Okay.
And without the coleslaw.
And what side?
I'll do the seasoned fries.
Okay.
Let me get the chicken platter with beans and French fries.
Alrighty.
Thank you. So yeah, I think something that just, I don't know, I connect with it somehow. Something I'm a very creative person. I've played music before. I draw. I do all this stuff, but and I love to build things. But the cool thing about haunted houses is that it brings a lot of these aspects together, whereas other different creative outlets might not necessarily do so. If you think about the elements in a haunted house, you have, the sound effects, and you have the set construction and the design and the painting and the costuming and character design and acting. And then you have all the business side of it, which is what my background is in. So it literally combines every aspect that I love about creative art, and I think that's what keeps me passionate about it.
So now, the haunt is actually throughout October. So you start off in September, and I noticed this year, which I missed, you ended in November.
Yep. So I think we ran 6 weekends from September 30th through November 5th. It's like 16 nights or so. That's our bread and butter. And then we do the off-season events.
Right, now we have the Christmas, which is right around right now. We missed last week. We have this week, which we are going Saturday. We got the 6:30. We have five of us going.
Awesome.
So we're going to go there and check that out. The other thing would be you have the Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we do a haunted Valentine's Day. I think this will be in 2023 our 4th or 5th time doing this, and that's a lot of fun. It's usually just a 1-weekend event, but yeah, it's fun. We get to play. The theme is Love's Revenge, so all of our stories on the trails are kind of built around that theme, Love's Revenge. Christmas is a lot of fun too, a lot of fun, but you're going to see more laughing, camping style things with Christmas. You're still going to get the scares too, but you're definitely going to have a good laugh as well.
That's good. Now, when you obviously you have your off-season ones, but your season one, which is the standard Halloween, you've grown up to 3 houses so far, and I know you've hinted that there might be a 4th.
Yep.
The other part is it's awesome to see the growth of, in case you're wondering how I know all this stuff, they do have a podcast. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. So I've been trying to do some more research, because when I did meet you, it came out of nowhere. I didn't even know about it, and I live in the area too, and it's just like how do. But at that time, I'm also busy doing my thing, so you kind of lose track when you're concentrating on something else. But I love expanding and exploring and reaching out and trying to help everybody know about everything. So this is one of those things that I don't know how I missed it all these years. And if I missed it, I know more people have missed it too, so I want to get it out there for more people. Same thing with Smokin' Aces. Little known funny fact.
Fun fact. Oh, you got the shout out jar. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, something else you guys got to watch in the video. Now, this is my second time here. I've been here in October of 2020 for episode 6.
Oh, nice.
I did have a person that was in the chat that I met up with, and we came here and ate, and I did order the same sandwich the same way.
Nice, that's awesome.
So cool things how everything kind of circles around each other, even though you don't know everybody and everything, but eventually you do run into each other. You never know how big this world is, and at the same time how small it is.
Right.
So it's great to see that. Your cousin, right? He's the first one that was helping you do all this.
Josh.
Now, on the first house, it was just the two of you running back and forth on the trail.
So we had
And your father.
Yeah, so it was me, him, my dad, consistently, pretty much every night. And then we also had two other people that would kind of be there, depending on the nights and their schedules. And then we had two high school kids that would come pretty much on Friday and Saturdays. Consistently 5 to 6 people. And like I said earlier, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And that was the hardest part of doing Sir Henry's there for a long time is finding the actors and getting the message out. In the beginning there, we tried to go the high school route. Like, hey, we're going to get high school kids, they need service hours and all that stuff. And I guess probably being new and not really knowing what to expect, it was tough for us to get those people. But now we stuck it through, and we have some great relationships with local high schools and their local clubs and communities. That it's a very beneficial relationship for both of us.
So, with the houses that you're running now, you obviously have family that helps out. Yeah, I'm gonna assume you have employees because it's professional now. So you have employees and volunteers. What are your, instead of actually giving out numbers, because it's hard to, every day, every night changes.
Yeah.
What is like the percentages of each, like family, and would you consider family employees also? Are they part of that?
It's kind of get weedy with some of that stuff, but most of my family runs what you see in the common area.
Okay.
So concessions, the gift shop, overall kind of staff management, the volunteers, and some of the employees that we have are pretty much running everything else. Scare acting in the trails, running the houses, managing the houses, managing the scare actors, all that good stuff. So it's kind of split like that.
Okay. Now, obviously, when the scare actors come in, we have Hell Week, and if anybody's done any acting, you know what Hell Week is. Basically, trying to run everything over and over again just to make sure that everything's in line and order, and everybody knows their place, everybody knows the whole situations and what to do if something happens. So we actually have a word, we use pineapple, because why would you have pineapple in a haunted house? Unless it's a Little Nicky reference, then it would be something like it, but no. But when you do stuff like that, how do you build up? I would assume that the employees would be the ones building and designing and assisting with everything when it comes to the trails.
Yeah.
And then obviously the volunteers will be coming in at the end for Hell Week to know their places.
Yeah. So we have subcontractors, like you said, that basically I work directly with from, in the case of October's event, the end of February all the way up to opening night. It takes that long.
Okay.
And there's only about 3 of us, including myself, that do everything you see out there. Obviously, we have some of our other volunteers come in and help out throughout the months, but consistently, it's 3 of us that do that. It's a lot of work, especially this year was a lot of work with building all the new stuff that you would see on Trail 1, headless. But the Hell Week you're talking about is when it comes to basically probably 2 to 3 weeks before we open. We'll get our actors out there. We'll start getting them back in the swing of things. We'll do some workshops and warm-up activities with them. We'll show them the new sets we've built. But then it really comes together during our dress rehearsal nights, where we have all the sets ready to go, the lighting's up, the sounds and the effects are going on, the props, and then we stick our actors in there. No costumes the very first night, no mask, no nothing. Maybe we'll give them like a shaker cam prop or something, but that's for them to get comfortable with the sets, to see it bare bones, because I don't like for them to feel like they have to lean on a costume or prop or something in order to transform themselves. Obviously it makes it easier, but I think they're able to connect with the character more and to get deeper into what it is they're doing by that. So that's our dry, we call that our dry run night. And then we have our dress rehearsal night, which is the following night, and they'll come in again, but this time we'll put costumes on, we'll do all the makeup, and typically this is when we invite friends and family out to see the show in a very early stage, and then after that we have our media night. All of this is, like you said, during our Hell Week, where most of us who spent these months and months and months setting up the sets and the props and everything have to fine-tune everything. We go back and make adjustments with the costumes. Maybe we have to get more pieces that we didn't know we have to get. So that's when everything kind of comes together in a crazy fashion.
On these houses, when you do this, I'm going to assume that you change them up. So what we saw for Halloween, we were definitely not going to see, or we'll see some parts of it, seeing that it's so close.
Mm-hmm. So specifically, like for Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're opening 2 trails for Christmas, not 3. If you came for Halloween, it was going to be Headless, that's open now, and what's the name? Oh, Final Cut for Christmas. Headless is Sleigh Bells, and Final Cut is Cranfish Knot 2. And so yeah, obviously there's Christmas lights in there. That's the biggest thing. The big thing will come with where the scares and where they're coming from, as well as the characters themselves. Obviously, Sleigh Bells is set at the North Pole, so you have all these crazy elves and deranged Santa Claus. Something you wouldn't have saw at Halloween. But at the same time, the Headless Trail is so new that we still want to showcase all those crazy cool sets that we built.
Yeah, the stuff that I've seen online looked really cool. Now, when you... Oh, our food's here.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you ordered just the barbecue chicken?
Yeah, the pulled chicken, yep.
With fries and beans.
Yep.
The fries look really crispy as always. What I got, the King Ace, something like that, the Royal Flush.
That looks good. Yeah, I think it's a Royal
Dude,
Flush.
this thing is, it's insane.
I love their gold barbecue sauce. It's like a Carolina sauce.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the mustard sauce,
Yeah.
but that's me. I know a lot of people love it. I do like the sweet and spicy stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll say black's their original,
You're right.
and I think the red ones are hot.
We'll check it out. It's like, yeah, the bun's all nice and toasted on the inside. Everything's layered up. Just lift off the plate. See the bacon. Everything's just all piled high. So we're gonna. No spiciness. You'll have to forgive us. This is, especially me. This is going to be a monstrosity. It was fun last time too. What was the other thing I wanted to do? Alright, so you got the 2 houses. So Rapture is out this year.
Yep.
How many houses have you guys designed collectively throughout the
That's
years?
a great question.
Don't mean to throw you on the spot like that, but
Well, since 2020,
Yes, and I said, okay, this will probably came up last year. And she was like, I don't think so. And she said, I still believe that.
Since 2020 season, this will be like our 17th total houses we've designed in basically 2 years, so that's a lot. And that gives you a little bit of perspective just how much we change our event with the stories and the theming too. So we put a lot of effort into keeping it fresh.
Okay. Now, how many have you reused the themes for any houses?
We have not reused any character themes. We kept the setting the same of a northeast fishing town from 2021 to 2022 with our third trail, which would have been Rapture of the Deep this past season. But the story was different. We had all new characters. We had all new scares. Krampus Knot is kind of the only thing that we've brought back a character for a story, and it being Krampus. But again, the setting is different because if we came to our Haunted Christmas last year, Krampus Knot was on Trail 1 of Headless. And now it's on Trail 2 where Final Cut was. So you get a whole different experience. It's much more intense, claustrophobic, and in your face.
Okay, that's good. There was another one though. I forgot what it was now. Who's good? Oh yeah, the characters. We're talking about characters. Obviously, Sir Henry's the main character. That it took a while before Sir Henry became the official character and everything. But how many other characters have you designed that you have been a part of yourself?
I've only ever played Sir Henry's at the Haunt. Which is kind of, because I love acting and creating characters, so it's kind of, I love Sir Henry, he is me, I am him, but it does get repetitive. I did make an appearance last weekend at the Christmas event with my cousin Josh. We break out our Jack Frost and Heat Miser characters and banter with that. But Sir Henry was still there for the majority of the night, but the second half of the night we did bring these characters out. That's the only time I've ever played something else other than Sir Henry. But as far as character creation in general goes, 98% of character design comes from myself. That's something I'm extremely passionate about and want to make sure that is carried through to the vision with everything we design. So that's something I love to do.
And speaking of character creation, you actually have 2 books right now that are out. You can look it up at Amazon, and it's Sir Henry's book 1 and 2, if I recall.
Yep, Sir Henry's Haunted Tales. And the second one's called Love's Revenge. We had 2 fans of ours who just moved from California, Brad and Amanda. They visited our haunt for the first time, I think, in 2019. And then in the beginning of 2021, they approached me with the idea of, hey, we would love to write a novel book about Sir Henry and its characters and make it a fiction series. I'm like, that's awesome, let's do it. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, just had no means how to do it. So they did. It was great. Then they wrote the second one this year, and part 3 for the trilogy will come out next fall.
Oh, so we do have a date now.
Yep.
We didn't have a date on the other podcast, so breaking news. Love it when we have stuff like this pop out.
Yep.
All right. Do you have when you do these characters, do you have any inspiration from movies or the books that you not imitate or mimic?
Right.
It's just something that catches your eye and says, hey, you know what? We should make something like this of our own.
I look for inspiration in any place. I'm a big Edgar Allan Poe fan. I love the macabre. I tend to think Sir Henry's in general gravitates towards that style, Gothic Victorian elements. But like I said, inspiration for me can come from any place. Example being, in 2020 we did a trail called Marionette of the Dead, and we featured a character named Poppy, who's since become like cultishly popular with a lot of our fans. And I got the idea for that in Spirit Halloween. They had it was like a Pinocchio doll that was sawing his arm off. It was weird and funny all in the same thing. I was like, that would be a cool trail to do if we did like a doll puppet house where they're using dead body parts to build puppets for like a show, and this crazy Geppetto-like character doing it all. I wasn't planning to do that, but I just saw it, and the idea came to me, and it happened.
Yes, please.
So it really just depends. Headless this year was a passion project I wanted to do for a while, and that's obviously based off the Headless Horseman's Washington Irving story. But we put our own twist on it. Rapture of the Deep, that was based off a t-shirt design I saw in Key West. Final Cut was an idea I had to do like a Black Dahlia kind of style of trail with old Hollywood and horror mixed together. So, like I said, it just anywhere that I see something that could be cool that would fit our brand, I'm open to it.
Growing up, I had inspiration with the macabre and all the horror stuff. I was watching the old movies that they had on Saturdays, and it was Dr. Paul Bearer. Okay.
Yep.
A lot of people don't remember him, but he was from the area around here.
Right.
And it was cool to know, because I was all the way up in Chicago watching these shows, and then when we moved down here, it was like, wow, he's here. I still have a picture of his obituary in the newspaper. I took that out and put a little frame around it and have it sitting at my desk.
Yeah, he was a big inspiration for a lot of people.
Do you have an icon like that?
Yes, but it's not horror. It
doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
Just
Walt Disney. On the scope of his creative genius and what he did in his lifetime, I think is just incredible. It's something we may never see again. Just the world that he was able to bring and the pioneer that he was to the entertainment industry. Definitely an icon for me.
Do you have any? Let's see. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back for part 2. As you can see, Zach is like destroyed his chicken. It's good food. It's hard not to talk and not eat and take turns eating when it's good food. But we did some behind the scenes stuff here between us. But it's been really great hanging out with you and eating food. This has been fun. And I got a fun fact. I got to thank 4GQ TV, because if it wasn't for me getting a press pass, I wouldn't have been there to meet you. Now back on to the trails. We've got the Valentine's Trail, which only happens 2 nights.
Yep, it'll be 2 nights this February.
Is it on the weekends or
a weekend? Yeah. So I believe our 2023 dates will be February 10th and 11th. I think that's what it is. I think Valentine's Day is on Tuesday.
And typically it'll be 2 trails?
Yeah, it'll 95% chance it'll be 2 trails.
Typically, yeah, okay. I don't want to commit to 2 trails if something happens, but yeah, 2 trails. So you might get a bonus 3rd trail, you never know. And then we have Halloween, which is the base, and you have 3 trails. And I don't remember if I mentioned it before, but are we gonna have a 4th trail at some point in time? Possibly?
So 2023 marks our 10th season. You know, we spent the past 2 years remodeling a lot of all 3 trails. Some very extensive remodels. A lot of that's kind of set up for the next few years now to continue to change the themes, but still keep it fresh. So, a 4th attraction is something we are looking into very hard for 2023. So, probably could expect some kind of announcement around March, in March, of what 2023, our 10th season, will hold for our fans.
I just remember oh my gosh.
Then we're running into Christmas, which is the season right now. And typically, you say 2 houses is typical. Now, what is the typical length of time in the house from start to finish?
It just depends on the group, really. But Headless, our first trail, Trail 1, that's, I think, our longest trail. And you guess typically spend anywhere from like 8 to 10 minutes in that trail. And we are going to add some new scenes on that for next year, for 2023. So it'll be even a little bit longer too. The other trails are anywhere from about 6 to 9 minutes, depending, I would say. So that is something we pride ourselves on, is the quality and length of our trails at the end of it.
And you also have a common area, and you do scares there too?
Yeah, we have scare actors that'll roam around in the common area. Varies, how many for each event. But I think for Christmas we have like 8 or 9 out there.
Okay. Do they do photo ops?
Yeah. So they'll all take pictures with you. There's a couple that have their own specific photo ops. And then we have our own version of Santa and Mrs. Claus out there for this Christmas event. And it's kind of like Santa's doing tattoos. It's kind of like a goth alternative Santa, and Mrs. Claus is pretty cool, pretty fun.
Can't wait to see it. There's something else. I keep on going with the food.
Yeah. Very distracting.
It is. The fries are good. I love them when they're really crunchy.
Yep.
How long do you foresee doing this in the future?
That's an interesting question.
Pass it down to the next generation when they come about?
Yeah, like I said, I'm a very creative person, so I have a lot of creative interest. But I would have thought I would have gotten burnt out with the whole haunted houses and Halloween and everything by now. But passion's stronger than ever for me now. So I will do this for as long as we can sustain it, but more so until I feel like I've given everything I can give for it. But
Okay.
I think it's going to be a long time before that happens, hopefully.
Now, you have on your website, and I'm sure there's certain little hints and Easter eggs in the books. Because I know that there's Easter eggs on the websites. For those that don't know, you have a big Christian background. How was that when you first? I'm good, thank you. How was that when you first came about with Halloween and all this? Did it conflict with anything?
Yeah, so that's a really
Because usually something like that is, for some people, it's a big contradiction.
Yeah, so I said I grew up, celebrating Halloween, in the traditional sense with my parents, and they always decorated and kind of passed their love for holidays on to me with that. But at the same time, I also grew up, in their house, a Christian household. Um, but in my perspective, I think they played the balance of, Halloween and Christianity perfectly, which is what I carry with me to this day. That it's for Halloween for me is not about demonic or satanic or anything like that. It's about it's Halloween. You can dress up, you can pretend, imagination. Being a Christian myself, I feel like Christian art and entertainment is uh, very flat, very platonic, because I feel like a lot of Christians are afraid to use their talents in art to communicate it through messaging the way that they could. I could go on a whole tangent here, but I think the point of it is, I think too many of them stick in their own lanes and do not venture out how they should to reach other people. So for me, in Halloween, it's never been about Bible bashing somebody's head. It's not about that. You will never experience that at our event, but it's, for me, being the owner, being my event, about having the influence of story and meaning and symbolism in everything we do, and that correlates to the experience you receive. So you're going to have a different experience at every event, no matter what the event is, no matter who's putting it on. But I think there's something in this event at Sir Henry's that everybody that comes to can feel the heart in it, and that my faith is a big part of that heart. So yeah, it's that's something that's always in there. I think it really became, I realized what I could do with it through my passion, through my faith, when I took some college classes about humanities and like symbolism and meaning and allegory, and that's exactly what I brought into Sir Henry's. It's for somebody who wants to know more and know the deeper meaning of it. Absolutely, we'll be happy to talk to you about that. We even have little flyers at our event that kind of explain the deeper symbolic meanings behind each story for each trail. But to the other person that just wants to come and get scared in a haunted house, we're here for you that too. So
See, that's what I like about that. That's why I wanted to ask, because I know you don't push it.
yeah,
People have to ask,
exactly.
and that's the beauty of it. There's that balance of it's there, and if it is, so what? If you don't care, you don't care. If you do care, you're going to ask, and you'll get some information. So I figured that would be what I would do.
It's
be
interesting
asking
that
and getting more backstory, more stuff from you than you usually let out.
It's never really been an issue like with people not wanting to come to our event because they see a Bible verse on our website, or this is a haunted house put on Christian. That's never been the issue. I've had more issues with, how can you be a Christian in a haunted house? Unfortunately, even so you have a little bit of obviously during October, but doing the haunted Christmas now, I do see a lot more of that stuff. But people, that's where I feel like Christmas to me was always one of my number one favorite holiday growing up, and means a lot to me still to this day. I would never do something so blasphemous or sacrilegious to where I just shit on the holiday.
Yeah.
So it's not about that. It's about the imagination. It's about the creativity. It's about the playfulness of it all, and telling a story. There's nothing wrong with telling a story about elves going crazy at the North Pole and doing psychotic things. That's just the channel to tell a story.
Okay.
So
Now, when you're doing all this work, you still have another job too, right?
So I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
like I said, we started doing the trail in 2014. For the first 6-7 seasons of that, I was working a day job and doing that full time and balancing the trail. So it was a lot of 14, 15, 16-hour days. It got to the point around when COVID hit. Some things transitioned for me. I took a step back and started doing more of my own stuff. So I'm completely my own boss now. So I do have a lot of time and resources I put into doing Sir Henry's full time, as well as my other business ventures. So
That's good.
Yep.
Oh, because I was curious when you said 16 hours. I was like, whoa.
yeah, it was.
Even I can't do that.
And that was.
I mean, I put in 70 hours a week with my regular job,
Right.
and then I'm still trying to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine trying to do 16 hours and then still do this.
So specifically speaking about that on the podcast too, and we talked about, that we used to do a family-friendly Christmas event, and that was where I was, talking about the 16-hour days, and that was just me doing the trail for 16 hours a day, because that's how much, and it was really just me at that time. That's how much turnaround it was from doing the Halloween to going to the family-friendly Christmas. Because you only have 28, 30 days to get everything ready, and you've got to take all your spooky stuff down, all the sets that we just built, it has to be perfect. Because it's Christmas. Christmas is very clean, very pristine, I guess you could say. So that was a lot of work, and it was very stressful too. And I think that took a lot of the joy out of Christmas for me. I just got burnt out, and now it's much more of a kind of like a creative reset to do the haunted Christmas, because there's less pressure. With Christmas. I said this on the podcast too. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and a lot of people hold it very near and dear to their hearts, especially with traditions. And the holidays are tough on a lot of people too, for various different reasons. And I think it's just one of those things where a traditional Christmas can be a great thing, but it can also be hard for people to let loose and laugh. Whereas with a haunted Christmas, that's all we're doing. We're just having fun, and I think it carries through to our customers.
Do you still get as many volunteers for Christmas as you do for Halloween?
Yeah, we do, because one of the things we tell our volunteers is, hey, make sure you participate in our off-season events, because it's a way to move up the ladder, so to speak. If you want to play a lead character next season for Halloween, Christmas is a great time to showcase your skills and opportunities in different types of characters, so you can see your range of ability.
Yeah.
So we still do get quite a bit of volunteers as well.
Yeah, because you've had people on the podcast that have just been patrons, just going through a house, becoming a volunteer, and then actually moving up.
Right.
And it's good to see people not just get hired on from the outside, because that's what I see in the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
You've worked your butt off, and you should be next in line, but yet they get somebody else that has no clue of what's going on, and then they bring them in, and they're in charge, and they're still clueless. And in the meantime, you're doing their job for them.
Exactly.
So
I
always love promotion from within, so that's a great one. Now, are we going to be able to go to the site?
Yeah.
Today? All right,
we
perfect.
can, absolutely.
So stay tuned for part 3. That'll be just the video only. Sorry, audio guys. You're not going to see anything or hear anything about it. So I do have one last question for you. And I learned this from another guy that I used to do interviews with. What is your last words of your last inspiring words for the listeners?
Follow your passion. Talent. Everybody has talents. Try your best to identify those talents, because your talents will usually line up with your passions, and follow that. We only get one life, so make the most of it. I think the biggest thing for me the biggest tragedy for me would be to live a life where I didn't utilize my talents. So that's what I would say.
Oh, nice. That's great. I always try to take everybody's last words for inspiration and try to use that and grow off of that. So it's good to see that, and hopefully the listeners will do that too. So this will conclude our Breaking Bread with Dread episode 28. I got to thank you, Zach. This is Zach from Sir Henry's Haunted Trails. He also has 2 books and a third one coming soon. I think we said March was the possible release. No, March was
Possible announcements for
Announcement.
fourth attraction in March, and then the fall of 2023 we'll have
That's right.
third book release.
Right. So next year you're going to have a lot of stuff to check out for Sir Henry's. And the books are Sir Henry's Haunted Tales.
Yep.
And then they have their following names behind them. And don't forget the you guys can't see it, but you guys can. Fun fact cups. So if you ever want to know, fun fact. Again, thank you.
Thank you,
I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for stopping in. And if you have any questions for future interviews, or any questions for anybody else that we had interviewed before, just let me know, and we'll try to see if we can bring them back. We do have plans on a few others that we've interviewed before, and bringing them back again. It's been a couple years for a couple of them, so we want to bring them back and get them back out there. So again, thank you all. Have a great night.